Fascinating stuff. And voting is about to end in the first big race of the night, the Commonwealth of Virginia and the governor's race. Will Democrats win back the Commonwealth's governor's mansion, or will Republicans buck history and hang on to it? We have a key race alert for you now. And it is too early to call. The polls just closed, so we do not know exactly what to make of things. But David Chalian has some new exit polls. And we have some actual votes coming in from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, with 5,722 votes. That's 64.7% of the vote. The Republican, Winsome Sears, 35.2% of the vote. Spanberger is 2,609 votes ahead. Obviously, just a fraction of the votes have come in from the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we have another key race alert for you out of the Commonwealth of Virginia, where polls have closed. If you look at the board here, the Democrat, Abigail Spanberger, is leading with 56.3% of the vote. The Republican, Winsome Sears, has 43.5% of the vote. Spanberger is in the lead with roughly 7,800 votes. That's with only 2% of the estimated vote in. But as of right now, with many, many more votes to count, Spanberger is in the lead. And we're back with another key race alert for you. And yes, it is still in the Commonwealth of Virginia in the governor's race. Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, is leading with 56% of the vote. The Republican, Winsome Sears, has 43.8% of the vote. Spanberger is leading by more than 41,000 votes with an estimated 10% of the vote in. But I want to bring your attention to the Attorney General's race, because this is really interesting. As you may or may not know, there was a controversy involving the Democrat Jay Jones, involving some rather violent text messages he sent several years ago. It's really rocked the entire Virginia race. And if you look here, the incumbent Republican Attorney General, Jason Miyares, is right now, with only 6% of the vote in, he's right now in the lead with 52.1% of the vote. Jay Jones, the Democrat, has 47.5% of the vote. That means that Spanberger is, well, right now, oh, look at that. Jay Jones just jumped ahead. Jay Jones has now 50% of the vote, 50.7% of the vote. Jason Miyares, 49% of the vote. In any case, what's interesting is that Jay Jones is roughly 5 points behind Abigail Spanberger. So however well Spanberger does, it does seem as though Jay Jones is trailing her by 5 percentage points. And the question, I guess, is, will she bring him up enough that, like, if she wins by 8 points, 11 points, she could be pulling Jay Jones with her past the finish line. But if she only ekes it out by like 4 points, that might be not enough for Jay Jones. We can now make a major projection in the Virginia governor's race. CNN projects that former Democratic Congresswoman and CIA case officer Abigail Spanberger will be elected the governor of Virginia, defeating the Commonwealth's sitting lieutenant governor, Republican Winsome Sears. Abigail Spanberger will become the very first woman governor in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Again, CNN projects that Abigail Spanberger will be elected governor of Virginia. Well, polls are about to close in New Jersey, and we're about to get our first results in the high-stakes battle between Democrat Mikie Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Both candidates campaigned on opposing viewpoints of President Trump's second term. Who's going to pull off a victory? Well, we have a key race alert, and with the polls closing, not a surprise, it is too early to call in the race between Democrat Mikie Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Too early to call right now.
I got to go quickly to Jake for a key race alert. We'll come back. We only have like 4 hours. So let's go.
Thanks, Anderson. Let's get a key race alert. Right now in New Jersey, Democrat Mikie Sherrill with 54.1% of the vote, and Republican Jack Ciattarelli with 45.3% of the vote. Sherrill, the Democrat, is roughly 17,900 votes ahead of the Republican. This is only 6% of the estimated vote. And we're back with a key race alert in the Garden State of New Jersey and the race for governor. Democrat Mikie Sherrill is in the lead with 64% of the vote, and Republican Jack Ciattarelli is in the lead. Is in the rear with 35.5% of the vote. Sherrill right now with 22% of the vote in. is up by about 204,000 votes. That's right, Anderson. Thanks so much. And we can now make a projection in the Virginia lieutenant governor's race. CNN projects that Democrat Ghazala Hashmi will be elected the lieutenant governor of Virginia, defeating Republican John Reid. Hashmi will be the very first Muslim and first Indian American to ever hold the job. She's also the first Muslim woman elected statewide in the country. Again, CNN projects that Democrat Ghazala Hashmi will be elected lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. All right, John, thanks so much. Polls are about to close in this marquee election of the night as the Big Apple seeks to elect its next mayor. Will Zohran Mamdani pull off a victory? We do have a key race alert. And the polls in New York are closed, and it is too early to call. Too early to call in New York. CNN's David Chalian. Well, let's go to New Jersey right now, if we can bring in those poll numbers. There we go. New Jersey, with 32% of the estimated vote in, Democrat Mikie Sherrill has 58.9% of the vote. Republican Jack Ciattarelli has 40.6% of the vote. Sherrill right now more than 188,000 votes ahead with an estimated 32% of the vote in. We're expecting a lot more votes to actually come in before we actually get an idea of what's happening with that contest. All right, thanks so much, John. We have a key race alert. With actual votes coming in, Zohran Mamdani has 51.5% of the vote. Governor Andrew Cuomo, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, has 39.7% of the vote. Republican Curtis Sliwa has 8% of the vote. And Eric Adams, the incumbent, who is no longer running, has 0.2% of the vote. So right now, with 36% of the estimated vote in, that's more than a third, Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate, is more than 97,000 votes ahead of his closest competitor, Andrew Cuomo. And significantly, Mamdani does have, at this early hour, more than 50% of the vote. That is, again, with only 36% of the vote in. And we are back with a key race alert in the New York City mayor's race. Democratic candidate Zohran Mamdani is ahead, 49.6% of the vote. In second place, independent candidate and former Governor Andrew Cuomo with 41.5% of the vote. Republican Curtis Sliwa is next with 8.1% of the vote. Incumbent Eric Adams, who is no longer running, with 0.3% of the vote. So Zohran Mamdani right now is just under 95,000 votes ahead of Andrew Cuomo. That's with 52% of the estimated vote in. Still a lot of votes to count out of New York, but a healthy lead for Zohran Mamdani. In New Jersey and the governor's race there, Democrat Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill has 56.6% of the vote. Republican Jack Ciattarelli with 42.9% of the vote. Sherrill right now with a significant lead of more than 265,000 votes. That's with an estimated 59% of the vote in. So a lot of the vote has come in since we last spoke. All right, we can now make a major projection in the New Jersey governor's race. CNN projects the Democratic Congresswoman and former Navy helicopter pilot Mikie Sherrill will be elected the next governor of New Jersey. Mikie Sherrill defeating Republican former State Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli for the first time in 60 years. Democrats will hold on to the governor's seat in the Garden State for 3 consecutive terms. Sherrill will also become the state's first female Democratic governor. They previously had Republican governor who was a woman. Again, CNN projecting that Democrat Mikie Sherrill will be elected governor of New Jersey. All right, John, and we can now make a major projection in the New York City mayor's race. CNN projects that Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate, will be elected the next mayor of New York, New York, defeating former New York governor turned independent Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. Mamdani's victory marking an historic moment in the city. At the age of 34, he will be the city's youngest mayor in a century. He will also be New York City's very first Muslim mayor. Again, CNN projecting that Zohran Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York, New York. Thanks, Anderson. Yeah, we can now make a projection in the Virginia Attorney General's race, and CNN projects that Democrat Jay Jones, will be elected Attorney General of Virginia, the Democrat defeating the sitting Attorney General, Republican Jason Miyares. This means Democrats have won all 3 statewide races in the Commonwealth of Virginia, because CNN has projected that former Democratic Congresswoman and CIA case officer Abigail Spanberger will be elected governor of Virginia, with Democrat Ghazala Hashmi winning the second top job of lieutenant governor. 3 huge victories for Democrats tonight. Nationally, we have 2 women elected governors in Virginia and New Jersey, and then Zohran Mamdani becoming New York City's first Muslim mayor, the Democratic candidate there defeating independent and Republican candidates. Also tonight, we are, of course, keeping watch on California. Polls close there in just over an hour. Something new tonight. Join us on CNN.com and the new CNN app. All access subscribers are watching an all-star group, including Ben Shapiro and Charlemagne the God. They're reacting in real time to all of tonight's results. Again, you can watch that live now on CNN.com and the new CNN app. We'll be right back. We're about to close in California in just seconds. We're going to get our very first look at whether Californians will accept Governor Gavin Newsom's new U.S. House maps, and we can make a projection in California. The polls are closed as of now, and CNN projects that Californians have indeed voted yes on the state's newly drawn congressional district map, aiming to help Democrats win an additional up to 5 U.S. House seats in the 2026 midterm elections in 1 year. This victory marking a huge win for California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat who framed this vote as a chance for his state to rebuke President Trump and to make it easier to deny him a Republican-controlled House for his final 2 years in office. Again, CNN projecting the Californians have voted yes on Prop 50 to implement the state's newly drawn U.S. House map.